Do we do this first?
Yep.
Can I call this meeting back to order? Can I have a motion to resume public session? Mr. Bailey first, Ms. Davis second. All in favor? Okay, we are now resuming a public session. The vote is unanimous. We are now resuming public session. Stand to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to begin with the GC Pride Awards.
Test. All right. Good evening, President Coffey, Superintendent Daly, and members of the board. It is now my honor to present the GC Pride Award to two students this evening, Dylan Wanzenreed and Kelsey D'Imperio. If you guys want to come up. Both Dylan and Kelsey are standout students, and tonight we recognize them for their outstanding leadership and commitment to our district. And I know Principal Hamill shares my sentiment. A junior at Gates-Chiley High School, Dylan is a peer leader involved in many of our district's events and opportunities. As a peer leader, Dylan welcomes and builds bridges with students, staff, and our community. And it was in this capacity that we first met at the Fall Family Fest this November. Dylan was with us during our prep time and was quick to jump in to help wherever needed without being prompted or asked to. From helping to set up coats for the coat drive, to setting up the field house tables and signage, to helping us clean up and pack up at the end of the night. We absolutely could not have pulled this event off that night without Dylan's extra efforts. Meanwhile, Kelsey is a senior who is a leader in our music department. This year, Kelsey served as marching band drum major, and we recently worked together on a story about her leadership with the pep band. On her first day of school of her senior year, Kelsey opted to wake up extra early and start her day with us and our local media partners. She participated in live TV interviews as early as 6:30 a.m., and so that means she arrived a little bit earlier. Spoke about her time at Gates-Chiley and her hopes for her senior year. Kelsey's contagious positive energy shone during her multiple segments on 2 local stations. These Spartans truly demonstrate their leadership abilities in a variety of ways, and it is my pleasure to recognize their dedication and excellence with the GC Pride Award. Okay. I have one additional award this evening, and that goes to a person who will be absolutely furious with me once she realizes what's happening. Honorary Spartan Jennifer Merkel is someone who's been working on behalf of Gates-Chiley students for many years. In early 2019, Jen and I were partnered up in Gates-Chiley to support our communication efforts as BOCE's 2 communication specialists part-time. Jen was the veteran, and so she took the lead, and over those first few months, she helped lay the foundation for what our communications department is today. At the end of that school year, Jen left communications practice to pursue communications teaching. But during that time, she still had an impact on our students and our school community through several GC students that came through her program. In addition, during the pandemic, Jen lent us her event coordination talents for graduation ceremonies in 2020, 2021, and last year in 2022, putting in 8 to 10-hour days some of those years to ensure that our multiple ceremonies went off without a hitch. As you may remember, we were outside in Spartan Stadium sweating under the hot sun for several of those ceremonies. Jen's help was critical in making those events both efficient and memorable for our Spartans. And while I'm sure students will miss her in the classroom, we are very fortunate that Jen has returned to practice as assistant manager of the BOCE's 2 communications department. In this new role, Jen will no doubt continue to have an impact on our district and the entire region as she works to promote the work of Gates-Chiley students in BOCE's programs and mentor and direct a new class of communication specialists. I am grateful for Jen's leadership, mentorship, and friendship, and I'm proud to present her with the GC Pride Award. Ready? To you.
First of all, I'm not sure how I have to follow Eva, because no papers to read. Good evening, Board. I wanted to, when my time came and Eva said who you're going to pick, and you look at the criteria, I thought of Matthews Buses. John Mistretta is our salesman for Matthews Buses. And I know they're there to sell, and everyone thinks of a salesman, but it's more than that. If we're having a morale issue, John, they step up and they buy ice cream for all the drivers. Our kindergarten orientation, they donate T-shirts and coloring books and crayons and bags for the goodies to give out. Little foam buses, everything, all that stuff is always donated, and it's not even hard to ask. You just, hey, John, I need a little help, and they're there for us. Always thinking of Gage Chi-Li, our hybrid bus that we got for free quite a few years ago, that we were just picked. They approached Matthews Buses. Matthews Buses said, we got the district for you. When electric buses were coming around, Mitch and I, we met with them, and it was like, let's get this going. They're always thinking of us. They're always looking at us for new technology to try. Always not even a struggle to ask. It's just fun to work with, and it's always been a pleasure to work with Matthews Buses. So that's why I thought of
Thank you.
John Mistretta.
Thank you for your business. All right.
Superintendent Daly, any agenda changes?
Yes, we have changes to personnel and an action item for approving the track and field going to states.
Okay. Moving on to board president's comments. I wanted to just take a few minutes to appreciate the new room that we are having our meeting in tonight. This is our first board meeting taking place here, and all the work and planning that's gone into it. I also wanted to just reflect upon the fact that it is Public Schools Week, and there are so many ways in which we have great work being done in our schools and throughout our community. Just last week, we had our midwinter recess, which for my family as an educator and as a parent was greatly needed as a chance to kind of be together and just take a breath in the middle of winter. But also knowing that for many families, it's not an easy week. Changes in routines, figuring out who's going to take care of what child and how you're going to get through your day when things aren't normal is not easy for everybody, so taking a minute to recognize that as well. Throughout the past couple of weeks, I again have been thankful for the chance to watch different activities throughout our district and really support our public education virtually and in person, because it's not possible to get everywhere and to meet everybody's needs, and it really makes it more open and more accessible to be a part of your community that way. For example, I was able to watch part of the boys' basketball game against Athena, which on the day coming back from our break would have been a little bit harder for us to do in person. So another way to be able to support our public schools. This, I want to say, was it today was your Act for Education? Mm-hmm. Yep, so Act for Education advocacy going on with some of our own leadership there is, again, supporting our public education. And the other thing that I wanted to make sure just to, again, support and promote as part of this Public Schools Week is the work that our staff and our families are doing together to support all of our children. One such thing is our SEPTO committee and how they are working extremely hard collaboratively as our staff within our district and families of the kids that live in our neighborhoods, and really seeing all the work they're trying to do to support each of our children, and really kind of putting that out there as just a reminder and awareness thing for all of our families that this committee is there to support each of us, and they're putting in the work for ideas and supports and would love to have families join them and be able to support each other as well. But really just putting all those thoughts together as we have a great community and all the work that everybody is doing, making sure we recognize it this week and every week for Public Schools Week. That's all. Moving forward to points of interest. Do you have any other points? All right. Reports of meetings. Mr. Moscato?
Excuse me. Tomorrow we have Monroe County School Board Legislative Committee meeting, which is going to help us prep for our session next Wednesday in Albany. It's going to be a one-day trip. We're going to be meeting with mostly staff members, including staff from Governor Hochul's office, the SE State Education Department, as well as people on education committees. So we do this, normally it's 2 days, but one day seemed to work out well for everybody. So it's going to be a long day, but it'll be a good chance for us to sit down and talk with some people who really do influence what goes on in Albany. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other meetings? Okay. Moving forward to visitor comments. Do we have any? No? No visitor comments tonight? Which brings us up to reports. So we are beginning with a communications update.
Hello again, and thank you for having me. I am the Director of Communications, Eva Petrosino, and this is BOCE's 2 Communications Specialist, Abby Noble, and it is our pleasure to be able to provide you with a department update tonight. First, we'd like to wish everyone a happy National Public Schools Week. Fitting for us to be presenting during National Public Schools Week because celebrating our Gates-Charlie Public Schools is kind of what we do. So in addition to celebrating, though, we are advocating for the audiences that we are trying to reach. What is public relations and communications? For tonight's purposes, we're going to use our bucket analogy again to highlight what we do and then some of our points of pride from those buckets over the past year. And though most of our work is broken up into those buckets, again, important to remember that the water is constantly flowing from one bucket to another, back to another, and back again. So as we make our way through the updates tonight, you'll notice a lot of the crossover, and that's going to be indicated with these symbols on each slide. So let's go back to the end of last school year when we celebrated the class of 2022 in our new permanent location of Gates-Charlie High School commencement ceremonies going forward, the Gates-Charlie Fieldhouse. The Fieldhouse was actually our backup plan, and thankfully we had that all ready to go because it poured that night. But despite that, we hosted hundreds of families in what was a very memorable ceremony for our Spartans on their home court. Last year was also exciting for some new spaces and new items. 2 ribbon cuttings for the Performing Arts Center and our first 2 electric school buses. The GCPAC grand opening featured performances and self-guided tours, and when we became the first district in upstate New York to have electric school buses, we partnered up with our local media to provide them with a look under the hood, so to speak. This summer, too, in coordination with the HR department, we held our second support staff job fair, and though it might have been a hiring event, it was heavy on the fun as we looked for ways to showcase the district and the perks of being a Spartan. We also wanted the event to be accessible to everyone. Parents and guardians were able to bring children. We had coloring books and activities for them. Spartacus made an appearance and posed for some pictures, popcorn for attendees, and of course our friends from the media were there as well too. It was important to get the word out about that unique opportunity, so we looked for new and different ways and different platforms to pique the interest of a new audience. So one of those was WDKX. They're actually number 1 in almost every demographic, so the 45 spots that we ran over the course of 2 weeks leading up to the event gave us about 176,000 impressions, which is the total number of times that an ad plays. But reach is really what we want to focus on, so that describes our unique listeners in any given time period. So almost 20,000 unique listeners is wonderful, and obviously being heard by this number of people means we have to ensure that our content is clear and represents Gates-Charlie in the best way possible. We were also able to run personalized ads, online streaming ads on more than 1,000 streaming radio stations and during 7,500 podcast shows through Spotify, Pandora, and the like. As you can see, we got a great return here too. Our ads reached 10,000 unique listeners, and those helped us to target a diverse population of folks. We are also working to reach diverse audiences with our new multilingual flyers. We've been working closely with HR, again, looking for ways to remove barriers and increase access to our opportunities. So we debuted flyers in Spanish, Arabic, Dari, Pashto, Nepali, Punjabi, and Ukrainian this year. And of course, this work directly relates to our strategic plan for equity and my participation as a member of the team that's leading that work. Some of the other ways that communications is helping to drive that work is by assisting with superintendent's conference days and providing training about best practices for inclusive communication. We also have an update on our elementary school stores. Last year, you saw us launch 4 brand-new elementary logos and mascots created by Gates Chile alum Nick Capistano. Here, we brought those logos to life with the launch of 4 school spirit wear stores so our community can shop for GC elementary gear anytime, day or night. Since we launched those stores this November, we've already seen more than $2,000 in sales. This partnership with BSN for our official school stores will allow us to offset the cost of 5th grade track meet shirts for our annual event this spring. Turning to social media, communications team oversees more than 25 official district-wide and building accounts across 5 social platforms with a combined total of more than 15,000 followers. Over the last year, we have made great stride when it comes to the visibility of our social media accounts. One metric we use to measure this is reach, which again is the number of unique people who have seen content from our accounts. Looking at the district's Facebook page, our reach from February 2022 is now up 22.8% compared to 2021, while page visits jumped 113.9%. The district's Instagram reach is up 63.6% over the last year compared to 2021, and profile visits are up 16.4%. And let's look at some of our top performing organic posts. And again, those are it's important to note that they're organic because those are ones that we don't pay to boost to reach a wider audience. And we're finding that posts spotlighting our great staff and students are really resonating with people. So this recent post, for instance, in our Meet Our Great Crew series featured Paul Road School nurse Cynthia Cole. It received the most comments on a post in the last 90 days. We're also finding that social media is a great recruitment tool. This post advertising an open mechanic position received the highest reach in the last 3 months. It was seen by more than 5,000 Facebook users. And turning to some of our video work, video production allows Eva and I to put our TV producer hats back on. Since the beginning of the school year, we have done 13 video projects for a total of more than 200 minutes of video and interviews. Some of these videos are internal for training or information sharing, while others are for public consumption on our social media and other platforms. And to our newsletters, we're happy to report that the winter issue of the district newsletter, which you have in front of you, hit homes last week. This is a really labor-intensive process. Each issue takes on average about 64 hours or more to complete. That includes everything from newsletter planning, contacting sources and conducting interviews, and copywriting, editing, and sorting photos. Once we send it to the graphic designer down the street at BOCES 2, they lay it all out and provide us with several proofs before the final approval. From there, the printers run our design on the press and print, collate, and finish more than 13,000 copies, one for every home in the district, as well as staff members in all buildings. The entire process can take upward of 1 month to produce, but ensures that our community is hearing from us multiple times per year and has a good idea of what's happening in the district. This year, we also brought continuing education publications under our umbrella. You might have noticed a similar look and feel to our district newsletter. By using cooperative services through BOCES for design and print, this new process is helping us be more cost efficient. This fall, we also launched an e-newsletter using SMORE. For 3 years of COVID, we had regular communication with school community through weekly message, but those are no longer a requirement. The new monthly publication is now a way for us to have a regular method of communicating important news and updates. Each month, we average about 17 different topics. So far, we're doing great with an average of more than 4,000 views each month. And some of what helped inform that decision to start the e-newsletter was our family communication and satisfaction survey. Last February was the first time that we ever administered such a survey. We had we had 787 families participate. Earlier this month, we repeated that survey and received 823 responses. So that represents about 35% of families, which is a great response. We haven't had a chance to comb through all of the data yet, but some of the early data shows that just an interesting fact here is 65 or plus different countries or territories that make up our GC families. Some of the common themes throughout responses were that families like all of the different platforms that we use to communicate, but having so many channels can be a bit overwhelming. A majority of families responded saying that they feel well-informed, but that there was some inconsistency in communication between different buildings. So this is something that we've actually been working to align for several years, and we'll continue to try to make some progress there. One thing most everyone agreed on, though, is that emails and text messages are the most popular forms of communication amongst our families. And to that point, so far this year, we have 327 different messages have been crafted to send to families via email or text, delivered more than 212,000 times, including regular news and updates and emergency closing information, all sent in a family's preferred language. So as we begin to wrap things up, we'd like to share what might be some new lingo for you. We use the word zhuzh to describe the edits, the revisions, the additions, or the other improvements that communications adds to a wide variety of projects. These tweaks are often a way for us to ensure that everything adheres to our brand standards, both visually and from a content perspective. So the more we've zhuzhed, the more the word's caught on. Colleagues district-wide now routinely say, send it to communications to zhuzh, or can you zhuzh this for us? It's very cute. So far this year, we have zhuzhed more than 1,000 pages of manuals, handbooks, forms, presentations. This does not include websites, social media flyers, other digital content that we create or edit throughout the year. Sometimes the zhuzhing is simple copy editing or proofreading. Other times a document might need a redesign to highlight some high-quality images or graphics that we create. But this really does go beyond making things pretty. At times, we have to take a really complicated topic and apply a more conversational tone, remove jargon, make the end result clear, concise, consistent, and most importantly, accessible for our audience. And while zhuzhing has become a fun way to refer to the work that we create, the reality is that presenting ourselves in this way is critical for connecting with our school community. From the impression that our visitors get when they drive down Spartan Way, to the emails that they're receiving in their inboxes, this is an important service that we provide that has become our brand. And it's something that districts are trying to imitate all over Monroe County. So what is next? Well, we're going to work to standardize our zhuzhing using our knowledge of best practices and coupling that with the data from the Family Communication and Satisfaction Survey. We're going to be creating a set of communication standards. Again, creating a consistent experience for families across the district. So if families have multiple children in different levels, they're having a consistent experience. Of course, we're in budget season, so that means another riveting season of the award-winning series, A Bit of Budget with Dr. Ball.
We're also gearing up for many events this spring, but 3 in particular are going to be a focus for us. Superintendent's Conference Day on March 10th will be a day of staff learning district-wide. The Rock to Change Student Summit on Race on March 31st, co-hosted by Gates Chili, Holly, and School of the Arts, is all student-driven work to make our world a better place. And of course, the Class of 2023 commencement ceremony on June 22nd will mark the beginning of a new chapter for nearly 300 Spartans. We're also in the early stages of transitioning to a new website. Earlier this year, our content management system, Blackboard, was acquired by another leader in the field, Finalsite. While our existing product will be around until 2025, we will begin transitioning to Finalsite's user-friendly, accessible content management system before all the other districts do it all at once.
So to wrap up tonight, we'd just like to make quick mention of 3 additional points of pride from our department this year. First, as you know, we were honored with 5 statewide communication awards this year from the New York School Public Relations Association, NYSPRA. Just about a month ago, Gates Chili became one of the few districts statewide to have on staff someone who is accredited in public relations. This prestigious credential is held by only 5% of PR practitioners in the country, and it demonstrates a high level of knowledge, skills, and ethics, which is important. And about 2 weeks ago, I'm proud to say that I was named to the National School Public Relations Association's 35 under 35 class. I'm no longer under 35, but I still won the award. It's given every other year and recognizes school PR professionals who are making a difference in their school districts. These awards, nor any of our hard work on behalf of staff, students, and families would not be possible without the continued support of our Board of Education, so for that we thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
For our next report, we have finance, facilities, and audit update.
Good evening, Mr. Daly, President Coffey, and the Board of Education. I have nothing to jush tonight, just a simple presentation of the Finance, Facility, and Audit Committee. So we had the meeting on February 13th. We talked about a number of things in the finance realm. We talked about a reimbursement for a playground project from a number of years back for Florence Brasser, noting that Mrs. Sanford, our district treasurer, has been working diligently to get reimbursement for that project. We talked about FEMA reimbursement. Again, Mrs. Sanford updated the FEMA reimbursement for the 2 projects that we've submitted and talked about the levels of approval where we're currently at. So she's done a great job of submitting those projects to FEMA, and we do plan on getting our reimbursement soon. We talked about the purchasing manuals. So a couple of years ago, Mrs. Sanford and her team worked very hard to create a purchasing manual that's distributed district-wide. There were a couple of updates, and so those updates are currently being reviewed, and the new manual will be sent out to the district soon. Additionally, we talked about electric buses. 2 more of our electric buses were delivered 2 weeks ago, actually about a week and a half ago. And the other bus has now arrived in Avon, the 3rd bus that we plan on getting this year, and it will be delivered to us in the next couple of weeks. So all good updates on electric buses. We talked about budgeting and the budgeting process and just talked about some preliminary budget numbers and also a little bit about the budget ambassadors. We had our first meeting a little over a week ago, and that went very well. We talked about vote propositions and what will likely be presented to the board as potential propositions. We'll be talking about those in the next couple of weeks when we do budget updates at board meetings. We talked about the tax cap, again, a preliminary calculation. The tax cap calculation is due tomorrow, and so we'll talk about it at the next board meeting with an update of what the final tax cap calculation was. We talked about the volunteer firefighters and ambulance regulations relating to the New York State Department of Taxation and Finance, and just shared that the new regulations only apply to districts that had previously approved those exemptions, and this district has not approved those exemptions, so the new regulations do not apply. We talked a little bit in terms of audit about the fact that our current independent auditor, that's board appointed at every annual reorg meeting in July, that auditor can no longer staff for school audits, and so they're getting out of the school audit business, and so we had to select a new auditor, and that's on as a motion to be adopted tonight. We talked about deputy claims auditor and the need to have a new deputy claims auditor because of some movement within that position. And then finally, we talked about the safety and security upgrades and approvals that are currently ongoing for a number of things, including intrusion detection and some other security features at main offices. And that was the entirety of the meeting. Any questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we now have a policy committee update.
Okay, I can do that. We went over 4 policies. Policy 1340, which would be the board allowing a student to serve as an ex officio member of the school board. This would be a proposition that would go out on this year's budget vote that would have to be approved every 2 years to allow a student to be elected in high school to serve as a student ex officio non-voting member of the board. Policy 6130, the evaluation of personnel, was an update based on language that has been just passed. 6550 updates the state law on leave of absences, and it's just language changes. And 7670 is the new way of appointing, or an update on how the appointment of impartial hearing officers occurs. So, is there any questions about those for the discussion?
Any questions for discussion on those 4 policies? No, I'm seeing none.
Consent.
All right, moving on to consensus items then. We have a motion to approve the consensus agenda. Can I have a motion? Ms. Davis and Ms. Kais. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Can I now have a motion to approve consensus items B through I? Can I have a motion? Dr. Richards, Mr. Bailey, any questions or discussion? Bless you. All in favor? Vote is unanimous. Ms. Parado, do you want to talk
Yes.
now? Okay.
Thank you, President Coffey. We just want to take a moment to acknowledge a retirement that was on the personnel actions tonight. Angela Boyd has served as a school aide for us for 23 and a half years at the high school. She submitted her letter, and we wish her well in retirement and hope that she has a long and healthy retirement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That moves us forward then to action items. So we have a motion to approve the installment purchase agreement with Monroe to Orleans BOCES for copier and printers to be placed at the Gates Chili High School in the audio-video room, the counseling center, psychology room, and security office. Do I have a motion? Ms. Kais and Ms. Davis, any questions or discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Okay, and moving on to B. Yep. Be it resolved that the Board of Education, having heard an appeal from student A, discipline determination made by the superintendent of schools, designated as appeal number 1, and following due deliberation, hereby upholds the determination of the superintendent of schools. Motion to approve. Mr. Bailey, Mr. Moscato. All in favor? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? The vote is unanimous. Okay. Moving on to the approval of the Gates Chili varsity cheerleading trip to the NISPA State Competitive Cheer Tournament, March 3rd through 4th of 2023. Can I have a motion to approve the overnight trip for the Gates Chili High School varsity cheerleading team to the NISPA State Competitive Cheer Tournament for winter cheerleading on March 3rd and 4th, 2023? A motion. Ms. Davis, Ms. Littlewood, any questions or discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Okay. Then we have the approval for the Gates Chili indoor track and field trip to the NISPA State competition, March 3rd through 4th, 2023. Can I have a motion to approve the overnight trip for the Gates Chili High School indoor track and field team to the NISPA State competition on March 3rd and 4th, 2023? Can I have a motion? Mr. Long, and then Dr. Richards. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. All right, can I have a motion to waive the second reading of policies 1340, 6130, 6550, and 7670? Do I have a motion? Mr. Bailey, Dr. Richards, any questions or discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. All right, can I now have a motion to approve then policies 1340, 6130, 6550, and 7670? Have a motion? Mr. Moscato, Ms. Littlewood, any questions or discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. All right, moving us forward then to superintendent's comments.
Well, we're finally here. The Gates Chili Professional Learning Center, or the GCPLC, will be home to our BOE meetings going forward. This beautiful new space will house many of our ongoing professional learning opportunities for staff. Thank you to SEI Design and our facilities team for making this a reality. Special thanks to Dr. Ball, Mrs. Petrosino, and Mrs. Brown for making sure today, and then Mr. McKinney with the technology, making sure the room was ready for all of us tonight. If your children are interested in athletics, The athletic and counseling departments are collaborating to host an NCAA eligibility information night tomorrow night, March 1st, from 6 to 8 p.m. at our GC PAC. Attendees will learn about important academic requirements for student athletes who may want to pursue NCAA athletics in their future. There will also be a panel discussion of panelists sharing their experience as college athletes or coaches. Tonight, we approved trips for cheerleading and track to go to the New York State competitions. And speaking of outstanding student athletes, congratulations to our competitive cheer and our indoor track and field teams. Both are headed to states this weekend. Cheer athletes will compete against other cheer teams from around the state in Binghamton, while our track and field athletes will compete in Staten Island. We wish both teams of Spartans the best of luck in their respective contests. Also, a big shout out to our team of Spartan bowlers, who last week were crowned Class B Boys Bowling Section 5 champions. They received a champion's welcome back to campus from Gates Police, Gates Ambulance, and Fire District, who gave them a lift on a fire truck. The Gates Tri High School Musical Theater proudly presents Disney's High School Musical this spring. The cast of students and staff will put on 3 performances in the Gates Tri Performing Arts Center on Friday, March 24th, Saturday, March 25th at 7 p.m., and Sunday at 1 p.m., March 26th. This is the program's first public performance since the GC PAC opened last spring. Tickets are $13 and will be for sale at gateschale.org/tickets or at the box office before each show. Another exciting event coming up is the Sakumo Dance Troupe from Ghana, West Africa, will once again be visiting their home away from home, Gates Tri-Li. In addition to presentations to students during the day, they will be offering a concert of Ghanaian music and dance on Tuesday, March 7th at 7 p.m. at the High School Performing Arts Center. The concert is free and all are welcome. Voluntary donations will be accepted at the door, and they will be selling authentic crafts and clothing for their home villages in Ghana. They have been visiting Gates Tri-Li in the greater Rochester area for 22 years, entertaining and educating our students with genuine up-close experiences through their traditional music and dance. We are now revving up for our 9th year of Universal Full-Day Pre-Kindergarten. UPK programs at Gates Tri-Li are available at no cost to families who reside within our district. Placement for this program is done through a lottery. Anyone who wants to apply for that lottery should complete the online application available at gateschile.org/UPK by Monday, March 6th at 3 p.m. Big exciting news now. For board candidates for the 2023-24 election. Beginning tomorrow, the district will begin accepting petitions for Board of Education candidates. 4 seats on the Gates Tri Board of Education are open for election this year. 3 seats with terms beginning July 1st, 2023 and expiring June 30th, 2026, and 1 seat with a term beginning May 17th, 2023 and expiring June 30th, 2024. District residents interested in running for the Board of Education must be nominated by petition. Interested individuals may pick up a petition from the district clerk here at our admin building. The petition must be signed by 25 qualified voters of the Gates Tri Central School District and submitted with other required paperwork by Friday, April 14th at 4 p.m. Excuse me. Our budget ambassadors met prior to break for the first time. 6 of the 12 ambassadors were able to make it. The 6 in attendance were led through 88 slides on our expense side of the budget. Dr. Ball and his team did an outstanding job of breaking down this aspect of the budget for our ambassadors. We'll next cover the district's revenue sources at the next meeting on March 9th. And earlier we heard of 1 award winner, but we have 2 award winners in our membership. 2 members of our Gates Tri leadership team were recently recognized by their national and state organizations. As you heard earlier, Director of Communications Eva Petrosino was named to the National School Public Relations Association 35 under 35 list, a prestigious honor only awarded every other year. And the New York State Athletic Administrators Association has named Dr. Patrick Irving the 2023 Chapter 5 Athletic Administrator of the Year. So congratulations to both. Also, in our technology department, Mr. Thane won a ClassLink award. Senior Network Technician Roger Thane has received the 2023 ClassLink Magic Maker Award. ClassLink, as you may be aware, is our single sign-on system. The award is given to ClassLink administrators, educational leaders, and instructors who demonstrate using ClassLink in and out of the box way. Roger received the award for his work configuring the ClassLink roster server, which ensures students and staff have seamless access to the tools and resources they need to learn. So congratulations, Mr. Thiem. That is my report, Madam President.
Thank you so much. There's no need to go to executive
There is
session,
not.
so may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Ms. Littlewood, Mr. Long, any questions or discussion? No? Okay, all in favor? All right, the vote is unanimous. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.